What's up, YouTube? I am the Average Doomsday Prepping Dude. Today's video is the next in my Beretta 92 do-it-yourself series, focusing on the 92X Performance Fire Control, or the Xtreme-S Trigger that they call it online. They're the same thing. It's what they put in their 92X Performance series of pistols. I have in front of you a Inox Brigadier that I actually just picked up from the gun store. This was a super steal. It was on consignment. I saw it, and it already had Wilson Combat parts. It had the Wilson Combat low profile safety, the extended magazine release, the magazine shoe. It did not have the Elite 2 hammer, but it did have front sights, and it's an Inox, and it's Brigadier. It came with Crimson Trace grips that I already pulled off and put on some VZG 10 grips on. But I figured, you know what, for the price, I could not pass it up because I'm a Beretta fanboy and a sucker for steals. So I picked this up, and I figured, you know what, I have an extra 92X trigger kit that I need to put into something. So I figured I would actually put it into this and make your own 92X. Because really the main differences between a Brigadier and an Inox or a 92X are the vertex profile and the fact that it is a frame-mounted safety and it's steel framed. So there are some differences, you know, some major differences, but from a standpoint of aesthetics and coolness and functionality, if I were to put this into this Brigadier, it could pass for 92X, and with the way I shoot, it probably would perform almost the same, I hope. I have not tried a 92X Performance yet because they're not available yet in California, because I need to find one used because I cannot buy one new. So for the time being, this is going to be my pseudo 92X that I'm going to do it yourself today. I'm going to do this differently than I have done before. Normally on my other do-it-yourself videos, I've done it step by step for, you know, the trigger, taking it apart, putting in the hammer and all this other stuff. I'm just going to do everything in real time and kind of do a high-level recap of everything as I'm doing it instead of a step-by-step explanation, because I have other videos that you can watch in detail in order to get those for every single part on how to do this. So you can see how quickly and easily it is to do this. And the reason why I'm actually doing it is because since I bought this used, I have no idea what the round count is on this sucker. And typically speaking, when you buy a used pistol, you want to replace all the springs and whatnot anyway, because you don't know, you know, what the round count is, obviously, and you don't know how worn or unworn they are. So that's what I typically do with all my used pistols that I pick up. And since, you know, the 92X trigger kit comes with all the springs and everything you need, and I was gonna have to upgrade the hammer and the trigger anyway, figured, you know what, why not? So let's dive into that right now and get this party started. Okay, so when you open this bad boy up, you get two bags. You get one bag full of all the parts, and you get one bag full of all the springs. So let's go ahead and dump all this crap out into my magnetics part cup holder from Harbor Freight. That's like $1. And we'll kind of go through the parts. See for yourself what comes inside this kit itself. Obviously, the trigger is the 92X Performance trigger, which is flat. Comes with a Elite 2 hammer. Comes with a regular trigger bar. It is not a Langdon or a Wilson Combat trigger bar. Comes with a new sear. All of these have some different coating that they put on just for this fire control group. So that's why I'm just going to be replacing everything, because the trigger that this came with was kind of gritty. So instead of doing some work on what came with it, I figured just replace everything. It comes with the sear spring, your trigger spring, your trigger bar lifter spring, new hammer spring, and the what is this thing called? Your hammer plug pin, which I'm not going to use because I think this one already has a push pin in it. So that's what comes in the kit itself. So let's start putting all this crap into the Beretta 92 Inox Brigadier. Okay, let's get the party started and get these grips off. Like I said, this came with Crimson Trace grips, or Crimson Trace laser grips. When I bought it, I put these grips on myself because I did not like the Crimson Trace grips. But the Crimson Trace grips made it more of a deal by buying it used for the price that I paid for it, because the grips I think are $200 or 150 just by themselves. I did not pay a lot for this pistol given everything it came with. So now that I have the grips off, I'm going to want to start by taking the, yeah, this thing is like stuck in there. Good thing I'm doing this. I want to take the trigger bar spring out and put that aside. Take the trigger bar off as well. Put the old parts over here. And then I'm also going to take off my slide stop. I'm going to keep that because I need to reuse that. I'm going to take out the trigger pin, just push that straight down. This will come out. And I need to reuse this pin, so save that. But the trigger, spring, and all the stuff, this is the old parts on the left side. Okay, then I'm going to want to push out the magazine, whatever they call this magazine. It's not really magwell, but magazine cap extension thing from Wilson Combat. I'm going to pull out the cap here. I'm going to now take out my spring, comes out, strut comes out. Now comes the hard part. The hard part is the actual sear, which I have to knock out that pin, and if I punch here, and I can just push this out. Good, it's coming out easily. That's gonna come out. Sear just fell out, and my spring. Okay, so now we've got everything fully disassembled. Oh, the pin is still in there. We've got everything fully disassembled. From my pistol. You can actually see that this pistol has some mileage on it. It's really worn out. This is the first time I've actually taken it apart this far to examine how worn this is. So this pistol, for the price I paid, you know, they had it at that price because it was clearly worn and shot a lot. So that's what the frame looks like, completely stripped how we need to do it before we put in the parts. I'm going to do some cleaning of this off camera first before I put the parts in, and then we'll get started again. Okay, so I've cleaned up the frame a little bit of all the gunk that was on there. The frame obviously has some wear that's actually into the finish on the rear of the grip that's not going to come out. But, you know, that's what gives used pistols characters. They have some history and they have some wear. So that's fine. So I put all the parts I'm not going to be using from the original pistol into the bag, and that is now cast aside. I'm going to start by putting in the hammer assembly first and then the sear. Start by dropping in the spring onto the hammer strut and just putting that in there like so. Putting this in. There we go. And then I could put the Wilson Combat magazine, whatever they call it, magazine cap, extended magazine cap, like so. There we go there. Now I'm going to do the sear. The sear, I think, is probably the hardest part of the entire process. We're going to want to stick the pin in from this side first, slightly. Hold it with my left finger. Drop this in forward. I have not oiled any of the parts, so it may be kind of gritty once I get everything assembled, but we'll get to that when we get there. See if I can get the sear in. Oops. Like I said, trying to do this in real time without any edits, so you can see how easy or complicated this process is. Now I have this in there. I need to get that there. Okay, so the correct orientation for the sear spring, again, is going to be like this. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to just stick that from the top in there, and hopefully, maybe I won't need to use my that down, and then hopefully I can just push this through without having to do too much whacking and tapping. Where's my hammer? Okay, yeah, it's in good. Good. Okay, sear is now in. Now I'll drop my hammer in. Good. This pin in. Again, I'm going to want to get it part of the way in like so. I'm going to take my magnetic screwdriver thing and just do it like this. Get it in, just push it in. Oops. Like so. Whoops. It went not the right way. It's the nice thing about having a little magnetic screwdrivers is they will hold your parts as you're working. Again, I want to just get that in, push that like so. Whoops. Nice new spring. Nice new spring, like I said. There we go. Put my trigger bar in, and I may get a LTT trigger bar and at some point, because I know I like those with these trigger kits. There we go. There. It's in. We have this. And get your slide stop on. Let's function test. Yeah, it's a little gritty. It needs to be oiled. Like I said, I have not oiled any of the new parts, so we're gonna have to do that. But pretty much, you know, I was able to get the entire kit in according to my GoPro 4 minutes and around 30 seconds. So this entire process is not difficult once you know what you're doing. And if you're stuck on any part of the process, you need a detailed explanation. I have my Beretta Do-It-Yourself series that focuses on the sear, the hammer, the spring, the trigger bar. All those parts individually have their own videos that are, you know, just a couple minutes long, to let you know how to do them in detail. Yeah, this needs to be oiled. It needs some oil. Let's go oil this bad boy. Oh, yeah. Drop a whole bunch of crap down there. Get it in there as well. Just oil the crap out of the hammer. I should have actually oiled the sear. Really get in there. Yeah, just rub some oil in on that. Should do that while I had everything apart. But, you know, that's how I'm doing it for the time being. And actually, that is much better. Oh, yeah. So, that is how to upgrade your pistol with the 92X trigger fire control and make your own Beretta 92. They're normally $200 on the Beretta website. If you wait for the sales, you can get them for 25 to 30% off. So they're around, you know, 150 to 160 bucks. But I definitely think it's worth it. The trigger itself is amazing, to say the least. This, again, like I said, when it's in single action mode, is like a it's very, very straight. The reset improves when you have an LT2 trigger bar, which I will post the links to that video below. But for the time being, this is my Inox Brigadier with the 92X trigger fire control installed. And thanks for stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, send me a PM or leave a comment below, and I usually respond to all questions and like to help out the community. Thanks a lot.